Gary, we know, like, the most people know how important food is. Why do you think the United States food system is trying to kill us? Because that's one thing for me. It's like, we're a smart group of folks here. And every time I go overseas and I eat in Italy or Europe, like, I can handle gluten, I can handle a lot of foods. Then when I come back to the States, I'm like, this is disgusting.
Yeah,
I just can't eat this.
I think the entire incentive process is totally upside down. Right. I mean, you think about, and I'm not against modern medicine. Sometimes it seems like I'm anti-modern medicine. I'm not. If I start to get pain going down my left shoulder, I'm going to the emergency room. Right. If I had a windshield at 20 miles an hour, I want a surgeon and I want painkillers. But if you look at how the system is set up, right? So you have the manufacturers of the medications designed to treat disease with no fiduciary responsibility to the people that they are responsible for treating. Their fiduciary is to an investor, to a shareholder, to earn a profit. So already you have this discontinuity in the system, right? Because if I'm making something that is in service to your health, but my fiduciary responsibility is to an investor that you don't know, that's not connected to your outcomes, you having a benefit or a detriment, then legally, by the way, that's legally, I mean, you have a responsibility to the shareholder, you have a responsibility to your investors, then already you have this juxtaposition in, well, what's your intention? Mm. If I was more in line with your outcomes, rather than the return on the capital that's invested in my company, then you wouldn't have such discontinuity in the system, right? So you can't have the fiduciary for health maintenance in the hands of, an investor or a shareholder who has no interest in the health outcome.
Right. And think about it. For all healthy, doctors aren't going to make money. Hospitals aren't going to make. If everyone just walked around with no disease, no nothing, $1 trillion industry, multi-trillion dollar industry, is gone.
Type 2 diabetes is a $110 billion annual industry. Right. I mean, let's not fool ourselves that there's a meeting going on in some pharma boardroom right now to put that out of business. They're not looking for ways to get that off the balance sheet. Right. But if we would, if you look at how spending doesn't equate to outcomes, in the United States, we spend roughly $4.5 trillion a year on healthcare. We're ranked 52nd in the world in life expectancy. We lead the world in 5 or 6 major categories. We lead the world in infant mortality. We lead the world in maternal mortality. We lead the world in the lowest life expectancy at birth. We lead the world in type 2 diabetes and morbid obesity, and we lead the world in multiple chronic disease in the same biome. And yet, we outspend every other country on the planet, right?
So it's incredible.
I didn't know those statistics.
And this is one of the reasons that both of us, we've been already with you for a while on this journey, right?
Yeah.
And with all this information that you're sharing, which is amazing, a lot of people might be wondering, okay, but what are the first steps for me to get into this journey?
Yeah, the first thing is get data, right? Because the question is, who are you listening to, right? And there's so much information, including me. I mean, don't listen to me, listen to your body. There's so much information out there. The majority of people are supplementing for the sake of supplementing. They are not supplementing for deficiency. So if you go back to the tree example I talked about with the leaf rotting in a palm tree, let's say you see the leaf rotting in the palm tree and you go, well, we're going to start doing good things for this plant. So you put water on the soil, which is great for plants. Nothing happens. You put phosphorus on the soil, which is great for plants. Nothing happens. Nitrogen. You didn't find the missing raw material, the leaf wouldn't heal. So the first thing that you need to do is get data. I think that everybody should, once in their lifetime, they should do a genetic methylation test. It's a cheek swab you do once in your life. You do not have to do it through 10X Health or my company. There are lots of companies that do it. I talk about that all the time. But I think that this is a piece of data that every single human being needs. And the reason for that is that this will tell you, if you look at how your body methylates, it's how does it convert crude oil to gasoline so the body can run. You start to understand exactly how to fuel your body. So instead of supplementing for the sake of supplementing, you're supplementing for deficiency. If you want to see magic happen in human beings, give their body the raw material it needs to do its job. And so the first thing is you get data. I would start with a genetic methylation test. And then, because that will never change, right? The genes you're born with are the genes you die with. Once you know what your body cannot manufacture, you can supplement with that specific nutrient. And then it's fine. You can go to all the other great things that are out there, NMN, ashwagandha, CoQ10, St. John's wort. You can wander down the path of all of these different types of supplements. But if you miss the nitrogen, if you miss that element that your body needs, the rest of that is not going to matter. So I would suggest that everybody start with this genetic methylation test, and then periodically look at your blood work. And this will tell you how well am I doing, right? This is your P&L, your income statement, your balance sheet for your temple.
So true.
I mean, I think
we were talking about that.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about before the podcast.
So a lot of people, because a lot of people, right, they focus on all that balance sheet and the P&L for their business, but what about your health?
Yeah.
It's about making that analysis there.
Yeah, I do it all the time. Sometimes when I'm speaking, I'll take entrepreneurs from a crowd and I'll say, hey, what's more important, your health or your wealth? Or what's more important, your health or your business? They always say their health. But when you get them up on the stage and you ask them specific questions about their business, it's amazing the granular amount of detail that they have about their P&L, their balance sheet, their income statement. You say, well, how much money did you make last month? Oh, we made $668,200. Wow, what was your net profit? $149,330. That's amazing. How many employees do you have? 17. What's your revenue per employee? 79,000. What's your hemoglobin A1C? Blank.
What was that? Yeah.
Right. You're 37 years old. What's your testosterone level? Where's your insulin? And they're just blank. So they have more data on their business than they have on their temple. And the temple's what's really going to take them there. You invest in the temple and self-care, the business will take care of itself because you will outthink, you will outwork, you will outdiscipline, you will outgrind your competition because you have a physiological advantage.
True.